Hello and welcome to another episode of the eCommerce Coffee Break podcast. Today we want to talk about retention. Now, obviously, retention very important for every merchant out there with rising ad costs. You want to make sure that you get customers the easiest and possible way in your marketing, and then you keep the marketing, the clients that you already have. Now, there's different ways to do that, and there is a very new way, which I found very interested, and we want to dive a little bit deeper into this today. With me on the show is Roger Beaman. He's the co-founder and CEO of Novel.com. He's an economist turned engineer turned serial entrepreneur. Roger has 3 patents to his name for contributions in the field of engineering and machine learning, and has created over 100 million in enterprise value through companies he has started. He has co-founded Novel, where he presently serves as CEO and was previously the founder and CEO of Smarter, an e-commerce subscription billing platform. Roger also served as a personal advisor to executives of multi-billion-dollar companies, including Recharge Payments. So let's welcome him to the show. Hi, Roger. How are you today?
Hey, I'm great. Thank you for that illustrious introduction clause. But yeah, thank you for having me on.
Yeah, great to have you on the show. Roger, we discuss one of the most convenient retention platforms, and everyone basically has it in their pocket, but they don't know about it. And it's an amazing marketing channel. I've never heard anyone working on that. Maybe give me a bit of an overview of what we're talking about here.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, so I would say that, the world's most convenient retention platform. We basically, what we're building at Novel is a way for brands to leverage what is one of the fastest growing retention channels in retail, which is Apple and Google Wallet passes. Right. And so, what this gives to brands, there's a couple things. One is a way for their customers to do seamless referrals. We're seeing referrals work for the first time ever in e-commerce. And that's perhaps a fighting word statement, but I think it's true. We have some data to back that up. And it also gives brands a seamless way to get to send push notifications to their customers. And unlike apps, these push notifications are actually opt out rather than opt in. So they're default turned on. And they also, since this is part of a native app in Apple, these, Apple has made a change where apps get offloaded in the background if you haven't used them for a while, so they get automatically uninstalled. So that means that actually this hard-fought push notification approval that you have to get for traditional apps is actually hard to get and easy to lose. And push notifications via wallet passes that we enable are easy to get and hard to lose. So push notifications, referrals, and then the third thing is really that we are able to essentially have the customer be automatically logged in, because we kind of like store that logged in state when they install the pass. And that it sort of subtly makes every single other retention strategy that you have become more effective.
Yeah, I think by now every marketer should be awake and very excited about what we're talking about today, because obviously the traditional channels, email marketing, SMS marketing, you have to opt in. You have first, obviously, to get the consent of the person to receive notifications or messages from you. And then they're oversaturated. I mean, SMS messages, you get them on a daily basis. But as you said, push notifications, if you have them on your phone, you will check on them. Now, let's dive a little bit deeper in what can you do with Google Wallet, with Apple Wallet? How do you facilitate this app in the best possible way?
Are you asking about our secret sauce, Klaus? Because I can't tell you that.
Not the secret sauce, but practical ideas for merchants on how they use it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what I would say, so I think right now already, there is this kind of interesting thing that happens. There's, with retention, like strategies right now, I think there's 4 broad categories of things that people do. There's, email and SMS, right? So 2 engagement channels, right? And you described kind of how people get customers to opt into those, right? And then there's loyalty and subscriptions, right? And so that's kind of another category. And so SMS, email, loyalty, and subscriptions, these are 4 things that people do to try to get customers to buy again, right? And in theory, they kind of all make sense, but they all face their own challenges, right? So email and SMS, the spam filters are becoming more aggressive actually on both of those, right? The tracking is getting more difficult. Apple has recently released these privacy updates, right? So those channels are becoming less effective, and that's already started to happen, and it's going to happen more, right? So having a way to reach out to your customers makes sense, but those particular implementations are facing challenges, right? Loyalty and subscriptions, I think, the biggest point of friction, the issue with them, those two both make sense. They are a lot. Basically, to make them effective, or for apps to even kind of differentiate and add like a marginal bump, they require the customer to log in. And I know from a past life that and 9 times out of 10, the only reason that ecom customers ever log in today is to cancel their subscription, right? So that's the first time that they figure out how to log into your site, right? And so basically what we've done is made a very seamless way to kind of like pull a communication channel and a loyalty channel under one umbrella. And that's important too, by the way, because a lot of times the way that people kind of hook and get a customer to opt in to to opt in to a SMS or email channel, right, is by offering a discount on the current purchase, right? And there's sort of this awkward relationship that doesn't exist but feels like it should between the incentives that are offered via these engagement channels and a loyalty or subscription program, right? And so we've built a way that really allows those to become one, right? And I think if you actually really think about the nitty gritty there, the reason that people also didn't offer discount codes and such via email or SMS as incentives, both to sign up and to incentivize a repurchase, the reason that they just offer a discount code rather than say like loyalty program points or some sort of incentive there is because of this friction of the customer having to log in, right? And them wanting to avoid having that be a hump that the customer has to get over, like for that next purchase. So I think the fact that we remove that actually like it's subtle, but it actually creates a very beautiful way to kind of unify all like what you're trying to do with your engagement strategy, and as well as what you're trying to do with your loyalty program, and pull it all into one.
Mm-hmm. Now, give me a practical idea as a Shopify merchant, as a Shopify store owner. Obviously, you have an app. How does it integrate, and how do I get a shopper, a customer, into the app to sign up for this?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So I forgot to cover the basics. So we are a Shopify app. You can install our app, and unlike an app, which often like setting up an app for your own, like a phone app for your customers, which can often take like a month and then requires a lot of maintenance, you can launch a wallet pass for your ecom brand using Novel in perhaps 2 minutes. You can get this program up and running, right? We integrate with all of your existing loyalty programs. So Yotpo, Revo, Smile.io, like you just have to plug in your API key, and then we will basically suck in the points balance. We also offer our own native one as a fallback if you are not already using another loyalty program, right? And so then with that, you have your loyalty balance set up. And then to get customers to actually install the pass, what we recommend is turning on our post-purchase flow. We also have a Klaviyo integration, Attentive, and PostScript, right? But the thing that is sort of the easiest plug and play is the post-purchase flow to basically incentivize customers to make a second order. What we do is we have a little pop-up that happens in the order status page after a customer has bought. And basically there, customers are incentivized usually, and brands can configure this with, say, $5 off of their next order if they install this wallet pass, right? And so then customers do, and then they're given this say $5 balance, right? And then importantly, there is a push notification that customers will get a little bit of time later to incentivize them and remind them to spend that balance, right? And, perhaps that balance is going to expire, and, spend your $5 before you're going to lose it, right? And that, of course, plays on loss aversion, which is a human psychology thing. We are very afraid of losing money. And so we see a lot of effectiveness there. To kind of put numbers against that funnel. So for that post-purchase flow, we see brands get anywhere from 30 to 50% of their customers to install their wallet pass. And one thing that's really remarkable is a lot of times brands are still figuring out their loyalty program. And so they're not necessarily even ready to offer a bonus for installing that wallet pass, right? But even without a financial incentive, you see a lot of these high intent customers post-purchase still install that wallet pass just with, the tease of you'll get access to exclusive offers and early notifications about new products, right? And so we see, I would say it's around 30% of an install rate for every customer that goes through your purchase flow for if you haven't offered a financial incentive like for them to do it, and then around 50% if you do. So that's conversion number one. Then for some brands, there's also the conversion for referrals, right? And the conversion for referrals, depending on the financial incentives that they offer around that, we've seen some brands it ranges from 15 to 30%. And then there can even be a viral effect that happens from that point, where, the customers that get referred refer their own friends, right? And so it kind of continues on that way. And yeah, that really varies per brand. Some brands are a bit more, bland, although, won't name any names, but some are a bit more ostentatious and really, and some go as far as to really gamify that referral program and offer, special tiers for people that have referred a lot. Liquid Death particularly comes to mind there. They've got this whole cult program that they've got going on. And so we see referrals really, really work well, for a lot of brands. And one thing that, just to call out, the thing that we think makes that referral work particularly well is that, we just have a QR code that's right there on the wallet pass that can easily be shared by someone with their friends. We refer to them as conversational referrals, because, in the past, it was sort of the opposite of conversational. To do a referral with existing loyalty programs, you would need to, in the middle of a conversation, go to the brand's website, log in, then often log in again, then scroll to the bottom of the page, then copy a link, then text it to your friend. And all of that meant that it basically never happened. Whereas here, you can just have someone scan your QR code on your phone and immediately do a referral. So there's around that 30 to 50% conversion post-purchase for customers to install your wallet pass, 15 to 30% for referrals. And then it really varies for that, if you offer that financial incentive, the push to the second purchase, the conversion rate there can vary a lot based on how you kind of set up the mechanics around that, how long it takes for the balance to expire. And that's something that, brands we see experiment a lot with, and they can really help discover like what is their optimal time to second purchase there. But yeah, we can see that range anywhere from, 30 to 70%, when they send that nudge to make that second purchase because that balance is going to expire. So yeah, I think that, all in all, the ROI that brands see is very high, pretty quickly. And, yeah, it's all about kind of turning one purchase into two, either, from that customer or from one of their friends.
Mm-hmm. Not to go to uncover there. So obviously, yes, these subscription rate is really, really high. I mean, compared to somebody signing up for an email newsletter where we're talking about, I don't know, in the single digit area. Now we're talking about 30 to 50% going for the offer.
Yeah.
When it comes to, and what I like is, I think the idea is great to have a barcode. I see a lot of people sharing their WhatsApp number over barcodes. And I think people are used by now. I mean, it's very straightforward, very simple. Makes it so much easier. Now, this whole app can become a part of this way of communication part of your remarketing strategy, obviously. How often do you recommend to send out a nudge or a push for keeping people in touch with your brand?
Yeah. So yeah, we didn't even talk about push notifications and just the kind of more traditional engagement use case. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's kind of interesting because push notifications are actually free, whereas email and SMS, cost money. So, there could be this, brands could sort of go crazy with that, right? But obviously, the more that you do it, the more you saturate the customer, right? So I think that, what we see most brands do is just stick with the cadence of what they're already doing for email and SMS for now, right? Obviously they see sort of an infinite ROI in the sense that, it's free to send it, right? But yeah, that's what we see brands do for now. Perhaps, given that it is free, they'll in the future, we see them take it up more. But for example, my phone was full of push notifications from our brands this past weekend with Labor Day sales. And it looked very similar to a email subject line, right? So that's what we see a lot of brands do.
Okay. I saw that you have also location-based pushes. So you can sort of tailor-made it to where the customer is based. Tell me a little bit more about that. How does that work?
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's actually, I'm glad that you brought that up. That's actually something that it kind of goes beyond, sort of replacing what an app might do for a brand, and goes a step further because it's actually something new altogether that is only possible via wallet passes. So, the experience of a location-based push notification is actually pretty interesting. It's not the same as a transactional push that's just sort of a one-off message that then disappears. It actually stays on your phone while you're within range of that location-based push, right? And so the use cases there are actually pretty different. So there's sort of, obviously a super hot topic now is brands going from e-com into retail, right? Particularly depending on the category that they're in, right? If you're in beverage, then you pretty much raise VC funding, build a brand online so that you can then get into retail, right? Like that's the end game. So, but really, like, people talk about retail as if it's one thing. There's really two discrete retail plays. There's having your own standalone stores like a Jones Road Beauty does. And then there's also selling within, a big box retailer or small convenience stores, like another one of our brands, Obvi, does, right? Like they just got into Walmart, they're rolling out across the nation. So location-based pushes, basically, the thought there, is to basically just get in front of your customer, like when they're shopping, right? Or if you've got your own, locations, right? Which is more of an urban thing often, right? Like, Jones Road, it would probably be less likely to have that, as a standalone in, outside of urban, right? So in the big box retailer case, what you do is you basically, you get it on your customer's phone and it reminds them to buy your product, right, while they're shopping and looking at their grocery list on their phone, right? So it's a reminder nudge to buy your product, right? And then you can also offer, perhaps like incentives, right, like through that, right? Um, and so that's the play for sort of the big box retailer, and say, the Midwest play, right? Like the Walmart play, right? And then the more urban play, right? Like when you've got your standalone store, right, is to just get customers to walk in, right? Like your milk bar, and people are constantly checking their phones, right? Like we kind of like, for better or for worse, we sort of live on our phones, right? We're like chained to our devices. I don't know if you ever, have to deal with like, you're getting your phone fixed and you spend a couple hours without it and you just like, it feels different. Like to feel disconnected, like it's actually, you sort of like psychologically feel disconnected. So we're chained to our phones. We're constantly checking them. So, you can imagine, right? Like you're walking by a milk bar store, right? Like a milk bar, and then they can, give you a nudge. Maybe you didn't even know that the store is there. It's a block over, and they can give you a nudge and say, come on in. And, because you're on our special membership tier, you get a free ice cream with whatever else you purchase, right? So that's more of the play, for retail when you've got a standalone store.
I think that's a very interesting feature. A lot of DTC brands, as you mentioned, are going into brick and mortar, and that's definitely something they should have on their list of marketing tools. Now, you mentioned a couple of brands you're working with. Who's your perfect customer? Is there a specific niche or industries that you're working more with?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the most ideal answer, given that we're, an e-com enablement player, right, would be all of them, right? Because that's the largest TAM. But I mean, I do think that we work better. Well, I don't know. I actually think that we've kind of got a bit of a Swiss Army knife. And so I guess I am going to give that canned answer of all of them, but I do genuinely think that it's true. But the reason that I think that that's true is because we have different features for different stages of business, right? So for example, when you're just getting started, I think referrals are huge because spreading word of mouth, right? It's your cheapest acquisition, no matter what stage you're at, right? But basically the thing that you want most when you're just getting started is for, people brand recognition to grow and people to share and tell their friends about your brand, right? So I think referrals are the, kind of killer feature for early on, right? For a brand that's just getting started. Obviously you don't have retail at that point, right? So location-based pushes aren't a thing, right? And push notifications will perhaps matter, later, right? But, you might not even have, the bandwidth to invest in, like a fully blown retention strategy, but just kind of turnkey referral engine, is quite appealing at that time, right? I think later on for like mid and later stage brands, the engagement channel is key. Because that's really when they've gotten to the point of, optimizing, right? Like they're not caring, early on, I don't think, people even focus on performance marketing as performance marketing, right? Like you're caring about, at a certain point, like you're caring about finding product market fit, you're caring about top line, not bottom line. Once you've gotten to caring about the bottom line, which is like mid or later stage, right? Then, then you've got something that works and you're tuning the engine. That's when I think push notifications and kind of the more traditional performance marketing and sort of and performance, like push notifications are free, but like often that's paired with a discount or some sort of incentive, right? And so that I think is the feature that matters a lot there. And then the latest stage, like when you've gotten into retail, I think the location-based notifications, that is kind of the killer feature there. And that's, I guess a bit of a spoiler, but, we're focused on expanding that, significantly. We sort of built the bridge from e-com, to, your customer's phone. The next logical step is for us to focus much more on building the bridge from retail to your customer's phone, in a more robust way. So, look out for more there. One thing to just share too, obviously like across all of these stages, getting a second purchase is important. And so that automated flow for your balance is going to expire, I think is hyper effective across all.
Yeah, no, absolutely. A very interesting strategy there. How does the onboarding process look like? Obviously, it's a Shopify app. Is there any additional steps that the merchant has to go through?
Yeah. They basically install, we offer a 30-day trial. For now, our pricing is $59 a month, and then just $10 per 1,000 passes that are active that your customers have installed. So we think that's, pretty merchant friendly pricing. It might be too merchant friendly. We might have to raise it in the future. But yeah, so that is, that's the model there. But yeah, for actually installing and getting set up, that can take place in 2 minutes. The brand just has to install and then upload a brand asset for the banner image on the pass, as well as the logo, for the push notification icon. And then they can set up, there's optional, like, more fun things they can do, like set up tiers for different things that they want to gamify. And having it so that, when customers do certain things, maybe spend a certain amount, refer a certain number of people, they get elevated to a next tier. Maybe there's a VIP press pass that they give to, the journalists they're trying to entice. So there's a lot of fun things that brands can do from that point that take a bit more time. But I think the kind of base case of just uploading a few brand assets, making the colors match your brand, and then turning on the post-purchase flow, that really just takes 2 minutes to get going. Once you see it and you see it working, it's kind of like each purchase that you have without that post-purchase flow turned on is kind of a missed opportunity, because you could have had like this re-engagement channel get built, along with that.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I mean, it's always worse to get people on many channels as possible. And if it's very straightforward and you have these very high sign-up rates, then it's a no-brainer. Where can people find out more about you guys?
Well, I would say on our website, novel.com, which is, so there's that. But then, there's also, we're pretty active on socials these days. So with feature launches and things like that, you can certainly, check there. And yeah, I think, any questions that you have, also, feel free to just reach out and message me on LinkedIn. And, I'm not always quite as in the weeds as I used to be. But either myself or a team member that I loop you in with, should be able to answer your questions.
Excellent. I will put the links in the show notes, then you're just one click away. Roger, thanks so much for giving us an overview of this very interesting communication channel. I think there's a lot of potential in there. And as you said, you're in a hyper growth mode right now. I think a lot of merchants have already found out about you. And for our listeners, give it a try. I think it's a very innovative way to get your people your customers into a retention way. Thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you, Klaus.
Hey, Klaus here. Thank you for tuning in to another episode. Before we wrap things up, I've got a couple of important points to share. Firstly, if you have enjoyed today's episode and want to support the show, here's a simple way to do it. Help me out with that algorithm magic by liking, commenting, and subscribing on your favorite podcast app. And if you're feeling extra generous, leaving a rating would be great. Your support helps me bringing more impactful guests on the show, and it makes it easier for others to discover the podcast. Secondly, I want to talk to all your business owners out there. Here's a question. Are you tired of juggling everything in your business while struggling with your marketing tasks? Fed up with hit and miss experiences of hiring freelancers or agencies that don't quite get your vision? But perhaps you're not ready to commit to a full-time in-house marketer just yet. Well, I've got a solution for you. Introducing our fractional marketing team. My team and I provide top-notch experienced marketing professionals to become an extension of your business. Not only will they save you up to 50% on cost compared to traditional hires, but they also take care of all this time-consuming, repetitive and complex marketing tasks that have been holding you back. And this way, you can concentrate on what truly matters, the core of your business. To learn more about how we can help you to scale up your online sales with a fractional team member, head over to our website, smart-ecommerce-marketing.com, or reach out to me directly and I'll get you the details. You will find the links in the show notes. Thanks for being a part of our podcast community, and remember, your support means the world to me. Until next time, see you then.